Should we talk some win totals?
Let's go. Yes.
Jack,
finally.
I was listening yesterday on my way to the office to the Audible podcast with Stuart Mandel and Bruce Feldman, and the Nebraska win total of 7.5 came up, and Bruce Feldman, very bullish on the over. He said, I think they're going to go 8-4. I could see them going 9-3.
Oh, baby.
And I thought of you, and I thought of the many commenters that we have that either A, want to get very excited for the season, or B, say, you're an idiot, you're doing this again. You're
doing it again.
You do this every single year.
That's what I told Bruce Feldman. Doing it again, Bruce.
Doing it again.
When will classic Bruce? When will he learn?
Dude, Mandel basically said that to me. He goes, "You always do this with Nebraska."
Feldman trying to get clicks. There it is again, Feldman.
Mm-hmm. Husker from you. Feldman was also bullish on Mario Verduzco for what it's worth. He wrote an article about him. He did a story, if I remember right.
It was fascinating. He was a very fascinating man.
Yeah.
No, first of all, the number 7.5, like that was the most predictable number I think I've ever seen in one of these.
It's an incredible number. It's the perfect number.
It's
a beautiful number.
It's a big, beautiful number. Like
it really is, though.
But like it was the easiest. I mean, I knew
beautiful 7-5.
There was no 6.5 wouldn't have made sense, and 8.5 wouldn't have made sense, in my opinion.
Oh, 8.5 would have been way too high.
Yeah, like
6.5 would have been way too low.
7.5 is right on the number, in my opinion. So
yeah, for sure.
Now,
what's your early lean?
Whether I'm above it or below it, I just is it okay to play you've got to play the schedule game, right?
Of course,
you have to play the schedule game when you do this, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, man, it's right between 7 and 8. It's one or the other. That's how this season ends, 7 or 8. It's one or the other. And so I'm basically just trying to pick one game. I'm just trying. There's one swing game that I'm trying to identify what it is and what will happen.
Ooh, that's a good question. What are the games that swing this for the over or the under? I mean, the first obvious one is the literal first game of the year, right?
Yeah.
I thought Sam McEwen wrote about it well recently, where he said, if they win that game, it is expected. If they lose that game, it can change a whole lot. I'm paraphrasing what Sam said, but it's basically like this is the personification of you cannot lose this, but if you win it, you're not going to get a ton of credit for it.
Yep. I 100% agree. I'm counting that one as a win. If that's a loss, all bets are off, in my opinion. Things really
Jack,
change.
that'd be a disaster. If they lose that opener, we're having bad times. It's going to be a bad season.
Bad times are coming if they can't win that game. So I'm counting that as a win. So I'm counting 3-0, right?
You're saying 3-0 when Michigan comes to town.
Yeah, and man, and so I feel, and I know by now nothing is for sure, but I would say the next most sure, if you're stacking them, would probably be Michigan State and Northwestern at home, right? So
in terms of what are you trying? You're
most
just like
likely
wins.
Yeah. Most likely wins. I mean,
if you do the most likely wins, it starts with like HCU.
Like, where do you start? Where does it become a swing game, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I would say it's probably the Huskies when they come into town in week 3. Then I'd go with Akron, and then you'd probably say Northwestern. And so that would be the 3 most likely wins. And then you're probably talking about Cincinnati 4. And then, I think Michigan State 5. Those are again, we're just talking about probability right now. Those are the 5 most probable wins.
That's kind of the base, right?
Yeah, you would hope so.
And so then that leaves the next level of games, which are at Maryland, at Minnesota, or should we have Maryland in that group too?
I'm okay with leaving that outside of it, because now we're starting to talk about road games / better teams. Okay, so I'm okay with that being
so then the next group is at Maryland, at Minnesota, at UCLA.
Well, real quick, I would go at Maryland and UCLA maybe as their own little category, and then because Jack, do you know that Minnesota has beaten Nebraska all but one time since 2017? Nebraska only has 1 win. That was Frost's first year. Otherwise, they lose, and they lose often in heartbreaking, groin-kicky fashion, as you will see coming soon this summer, the Groin Kick Chronicles on the ID Club. Right. So I would have Minnesota away from those two.
Okay, so you'd have Maryland and UCLA in that next group of likelihood of winning.
Correct. So that's
if you
7
had
games now.
That would be 7. And again, let me just for the purposes of this exercise, I don't believe any game is a guaranteed win. I do believe Houston Christian is a guaranteed win, and Akron actually I believe is. But
yes,
outside of those two, I don't believe there are any. Every game could be lost beyond those two. And so I guess what I'm trying to find is games that you feel you're at a percentage that is high enough for the purposes of calculating wins to say they're in the, safe enough category before you get into the swing games category. And I think, I don't know that I would put both at Maryland and at UCLA. I feel like then I would start to do this thing. I was like, well, I'll give us one out of those two, right? When I'm putting this number together. So if you had the one, Akron, Houston Christian, Northwestern, and Michigan State 4, and then I'm giving you one out of the Maryland UCLA game as sure enough, that gets you to, I only gets you to 5, right? So, oh no, I counted Cincinnati too. So that's 6. So that gets you to 6. And now here we are, Josh. We're here on the precipice of the 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 group. Do you get any more? Do you get any more out of Michigan, Southern Cal at home, at Minnesota, at Penn State, and Iowa at home?